Hi, my name's James Grayson, and in this presentation I'm going to be talking about my time at AFC Darwin as a volunteer. So let's begin. So who are AFC Darwin? AFC Darwin used to be a club called Darwin FC, and Darwin FC they had to go bankrupt in 2009. They owed £60,000 in club fines and just basically a lot of money. £60,000. It wasn't coming out of it. So after a lot of talk with the local council, the FA, and they got involved. Local volunteers got involved, and after a while the club started to get back on its feet again, and the club then was named AFC Darwin. So in this club there are 13 youth teams and a development team, a first team, and also a reserves team. Although the club is non-profit, the club still has sponsors, and there's 16 sponsors that the club have. So let's talk about AFC Darwin's organisational structure. AFC Darwin's structure, there's the management committee and then there's the volunteer committee. And in their management committee there is a club president who keeps close communication with all the club and has the final say, the final word in what happens. There is also a welfare officer and a recruitment developer. It's called Elaine Little, and her job role is to recruit coaches, recruit staff, like your volunteers, like your actual paid coaches, and she also has a welfare job, and that is to maintain the health and safety of the young players and make sure everything's running fine. That's including staff. So David Ainsworth, he's the treasurer and he's the admin support. So basically he runs through a lot of admin, so a lot of work through the computers, and he also runs as a treasurer. The treasurer is someone that keeps on check with all the finances of the club, and he's in charge of where the finances of the club are going. So for example, coaches, away games, stuff like that. There's also a secretary called Sarah Hindle, and she basically keeps the organisation running smoothly. She keeps the club running smoothly. She keeps the communication between all the staff running flavour, and she also keeps it running through. She talks to the volunteer committee, and through the volunteer committee there's a lot of important parts. For example, in the volunteer committee there is the head groundsman and the ground maintenance, and they basically ensure that everything in the ground is up to date. It's safe for not only the participants, for example the players, it's also the grounds are safe, all regulations are kept up. There's a club photographer and what she called, it's Steve McKelv, and his job is basically to take pictures at recent games, and he uploads them onto the AFC Darwin's website. So he has kind of an important role. There's also a media promoter, and the main role is to keep everyone updated. So through media, for example, social media, the newspapers and stuff like that, they keep the club and its fans up to date with how they're doing. So further on, let's talk about legal structures of AFC Darwin. And what is a legal structure? A legal structure is basically that every business and every football club, they have to choose they have to choose a form of ownership. And for example, there are a couple main examples. So there's the charitable status, there's the community company, there's a community company limited by guarantee, and there's also an unincorporated organisation. AFC Darwin, these are a non-profit organisation. That's kind of different to a lot of other clubs, because a lot of other clubs are unincorporated organisations, which means that it's run by individuals bound together by the constitution or the club rules. So although this is a non-profit organisation, the club still has to make money, to sustain and grow. A club's nowhere with no money. There's new kit, there's no new footballs, there's no paying the first team players off, there's nothing at all. So an example of how the club get money is through paying subs. And each player up until the first team, they have to pay subs. So for example, each player has to pay £4, and £4 accumulates up to £16 per month, and that helps grow and sustain, or should I say maintain the club. It helps out. So let's talk about AFC Darwin's mission statement. Let's talk about their goals, and let's see where we get. So AFC Darwin's mission statement, it says online, and I'll read it out for you. It says, AFC Darwin Juniors Football Club aim to provide a safe environment for the players of all abilities to learn, develop and enjoy playing football as a community sport, with community values for players to enjoy and take part in football. So let's break this down into a couple of bullet points. Form relationships and work together. So that means that they come together, they're a team. It works a lot better when there's a team. And there's also the bit where it states that whatever their ability, and this means that there's from under 12s up until the first team. That means there's players playing at a different level. Of the continuum. There's the under 12s where it's like participation, getting involved, and then it goes up until the development squads where it's performance and playing at different levels. So there's also a bit where it states that on the mission statement that it says develop personal skills in key areas, so technical, psychological, physical and social. So AFC Darwin's aim is to basically develop these players and make them as good footballers as they possibly can. So that's all I've took these 4 points off the actual mission statement, and you can see here it says on the website, and that's their full mission statement. You can go and have a look. So let's move forward. How does the club move forward? How does the club move forward? The club is to separate as separate meetings for different agendas. For example, business side of it, they talk about it would involve meetings with the management committee, whereas on the football side and ground side, it would talk about the volunteer committee, and they can both come together, and then anything that the club needs to do to move forward, they can bring these points up in meetings. So on the coaches side, they have scheduled monthly meetings, and they talk about the whereabouts of each team. For example, under 12s up until the first team, and these meetings are there to talk about the performance of each side and how these players are performing and how they can increase performance. And basically, it's all there to improve AFC Darwin as a football club. So how do you get to volunteer with AFC Darwin? So I'll tell you a bit about how I got involved. I got involved with AFC Darwin through a friend, and I met this friend at university, and he plays in the development team, and he had a word with his coach, and his coach, he said to his coach, I've got a friend at uni, he's doing sports coaching, is there any chance he can come down? He only has to do 20 hours, is there any chance you can help him out? So from then on, I came down, and then that's how I got involved with volunteering at AFC Darwin. So what are other ways to get involved in volunteering at AFC Darwin? Well, you can contact the local FA, If you contact your local FA and talk about becoming a coach, if you already have coaching qualifications, and they'll give you clubs that you can go to, and that if AFC Darwin's on the list, that's the way to get in. You can also contact online, so if you go on AFC Darwin's website, and you can contact them through email, or you can contact them through the phone. So let's talk about the requirements. Let's start. Do all coaches have to have the correct qualifications? Well, to be a coach at AFC Darwin, if you're working with any player who's under 16, you have to be CRB and DBS checked, and it has to be an enhanced one. It's very important for the health and safety of these children and these young athletes that we keep them as safe as possible. So other than that, coaching a youth level where it'd be a level 1 and then level 2 further on into the performance, or getting up to the performance level, they're the only qualifications that you kind of need. You also need your safeguarding and your health and safety, requirements. They're qualifications that you need. So let's get to why I believe that volunteering is important. So, going back to the points of positives, should I say? So it gives you're giving back to the community. And not only does it make you feel a lot better that you're doing something for the community, it also gives you a better character reference. For example, the way you look to other people, it plays a huge part. You're volunteering. It gives you a really good character. Experience is also another thing in there. Experience is key. The more you volunteer, the more you experience that you gain. It changes your game totally. So let's talk about another point, gaining confidence. So the more confident you are, and the more believable you look. For example, if you're very confident in your coaching methods, then it's very important that confidence. You gain confidence through experience, and you can get this through volunteering. So let's talk about another thing. You gain a lot of contacts. So when you're coaching, you meet a lot of people. You meet a lot of people in the sport. You not only that, you also meet people who could be future employees. It just opens up your world, your experiences as a coach. And although as a volunteer you're not getting paid, it gives you the chance of employment. As the more people you know, it branches out. So let's talk about what we're talking about here, the knowledge of chosen sport. Let's talk about your knowledge. So the more you know about a sport, the more you can implement it into your coaching. So the more let's give an example. So for example, types of coaching, like the different styles of coaching. If one player coaches, you're coaching all the players the same. For example, you can self-teach where you give them a drill and they keep doing it over and over, or is there's the telling them to do something. The command style coaching is you gain this knowledge through coaching, and if you're not already a coach and you volunteer as a coach, you gain this knowledge. So that's on the volunteering part, and I think that they are very, very, very key points to why volunteering is very important as a coach. So let's talk about my role at AFC Darwin. So myself, when I got to AFC Darwin, well, as soon as I got there, coach just introduced me and he got straight on with it, and that was it. He just literally there was no humming and hawing. It's literally just, all right, guys, this is James. He's from he's going to help out with the coaching a bit. He's from UCLan, and that was it. He just literally jumped into doing his own thing, and from then on, I kind of like at the beginning I was a bit lost, to be fair. I'd never been at coaching at this level. It's kind of uncomfortable. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just watching. I was analysing him as a coach, and I didn't put myself out there. I wasn't the best, to be fair, at the start. So after a couple of sessions, and I've analysed the way that each player is getting coached, and analysed how they're playing, the banter the players have, and how the players work, and developed a relationship with these players. It became easier. It was my role at Darwin is like an assistant coach. There was another assistant coach right there. I had to start getting involved a bit, and so watching the team coach, he was all I had to do at the start was put bibs out, give the players bibs, arrange. I didn't arrange drills. I was told what I was doing. At the start, I was literally, all right, James, I'm setting up an attacking drill. Do you want to put cones out here, and here? And then it was tedious. I was getting told what to do, and to be fair, it was good for me. So further into my not training, I should say training, but further into my coaching at AFC Darwin, kind of developed me more as a coach, because I ended up analysing these drills, for example, possession, attacking, defending, and the drills that the coach would do. I knew where the cones were, so instead of getting there and watching where he's putting his cone and trying to do